Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel for Richard Freer Fine Art. Here you will find videos that guide you through the step-by-step creations of some of my artwork, as well as videos that guide you through specific painting and drawing exercises. I hope you enjoy them, and please visit my website rgfreer.com to see more of my work, and please subscribe. Thank you. So I'm going to be talking about the painting Dorset Evening Coastline. So this painting was based on a walk I took in the evening on the Dorset coastline. One thing I like about walking in the evenings as the sun is coming down is how everything becomes much more defined because the shadows grow longer and there's more definition within the subject. So the light shining on things becomes much more pronounced because of the shadows, and that makes it much more interesting and dramatic. So these are the colours that I used within the painting. I actually used pretty much all of the colours here. It's a little bit difficult to tell on the picture on the computer, but if you actually looked at the finished real painting, you would actually see a lot more colours mixed up within there that you can't see on the photograph. So these are the brushes and palette knives I used to make the painting, and later on in the video I'll try and explain some of the things I used them for. So I did the painting on a linen canvas, and the good thing about linen canvas is that the primer is transparent, so it's easy to see the colours that you're applying to the canvas. So I started painting the sky first and placing colours next to each other and blending them into each other, and I started working into the land. And I prefer to start with light colours first and then go to dark, because it's easier to paint dark colours on top of light colours than it is the other way around. So after some of the brighter colours were laid down as a first layer, I let it dry for a while, and then I started to apply some of the deeper, darker colours on afterwards to start to build some of the shadows. So I then started to apply some of the darker colours on top of the brighter colours, and it was also time to start creating some definition within the painting. So I started to use some of the smaller brushes to do that. I then started to use the palette knife and created some marks at the front of the picture, and then I started using the palette knife within the rest of the scene as well, while also continuing to sharpen up some of the definitions along the coastline. I also decided at this point to layer the whole painting with lighter colours again. So the idea is to do a layer of lighter colours, work on them, define the shapes, get the texture right, and then do the same thing with darker layers of colour on top of that. So in the previous few steps I was using a medium-sized brush to define some of the shapes, but the detail just wasn't enough. So I started to use very small brushes, and I was painting to create as much detail as possible now all over the painting. Started to use the fan brush a lot, and I went back to the large brush again. And the reason I did this was to try and create some of the misty effects on top of the detail that was already there, to try and create some type of mist and blend and make it a little bit more interesting. So I wanted to create some more perspective into the painting, so I added a lot more detail into the foreground using the smaller brushes, and I wanted the detail to slowly fade away into the background. And I wanted it to look like there were all sorts of different things within the foreground, such as fern and grass and various things. I then added a lot more dark shadows to the foreground to help with the perspective and to really make that perspective work. And I also added some reflections on the coastline near the top of the hill, just near where the sun was. I hope you enjoyed my video and you found it interesting and beneficial in some way. Please check out my website rgfreer.com, and please come back again sometime to see some future videos.